and today I'm going to be showing you my September bullet journal setup. I haven't done a bullet journaling video since June, so you didn't get to see my July or my August setup, so I thought it would be fun to do another one of these and show you what September looks like. I am going to be keeping the same supply section that I had in my June video because my supplies are the exact same thing. So if you did see that video and want to skip that little supply section, I'll just have a little timestamp here. But I figured some other people might want to see what I use for my bullet journal. And yeah, I hope that you enjoy this video. Let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, hello and welcome to this new voiceover. I'm actually changing it from what it was in June because I have a new microphone now, but the video footage will mostly be the same. So first, I have an eraser and a pencil. I'm one of those people that needs to do some things in pencil first and be able to see what they look like before I go over them with something more permanent. Next up are my pens. I usually use Muji Pens. These are the ones that I've accumulated over time. I'll mostly stick to using the black ones for my bullet journal, and depending on what I'm doing, I'll use a different thickness, although the 0.5 tends to be my go-to. Next, I use the Tombow Dual Brush Pens. These are pretty popular in the bullet journal community. I love these because they have both that brush tip for calligraphy, and then on the other side they have a finer tip for more consistent lines. I will also sometimes use the Crayola Super Tips. These are really affordable. I didn't use them in the September setup, but thought I'd still mention them because they do come in pretty handy sometimes. Then I also use the Zebra Mildliners. You've probably seen these all over different bullet journal videos. They're basically highlighters, but the colors are not the typical bright neon colors, hence the name Mildliners, and these are also double-sided. Next up is washi tape, and I know this looks like a lot of it, but I got it on Amazon for a pretty decent price. If I find the link, I'll leave it in the description box. I love washi tape because it makes things look really nice and put together without me having to be super artsy, and if I don't like how they look, they're also super easy to take off. Also, to make things look put together and artsy, I have these stencils that I actually don't use as much as I thought I would, but they were pretty cheap, and they do come in handy every once in a while. Next is a ruler to get those neat and straight lines. Then I use glue tape, and this is so much better than just using regular glue stick or double-sided tape, and you'll see what I mostly use it for later in this video. Finally, my actual bullet journal. It's from Michaels and it was only like $10, so super affordable, and the paper is this bright white paper, which I actually prefer over those cream-colored pages that other journals have. This one has dots and the pages are kind of thin, but that makes sense considering the price, and you'll see what I do to work around that. Before I start, I'll often look at Pinterest for inspiration or ideas. I'll leave my Pinterest link down below if you want to see my bullet journal board. And then I like to put on some music or sometimes even a podcast. Here's some of what I listen to in this session in case you're interested. To begin, I'll pick a color for the month. For September, I was really drawn to purple for some reason. I know some people like to do elaborate themes, but I like to keep things a bit more simple, so my theme is basically just the color that I pick. For the cover page, as you can see, I'd already drawn what I wanted it to look like in pencil. Again, I'm not one of those people that can just go for it right away in pen. I definitely would rather get an idea of what it's going to look like before. So I'm just going over the September title with one of my Muji pens. I decided to go for this kind of cursive font. And then I did the fake calligraphy tip, which I will have linked down below for you guys. It's basically just making the downstrokes thicker and leaving the upstrokes thinner. Once I was done with the title, I marked the edges of the border with a brush pen so that I could fully erase what I'd done in pencil and still have guidelines to follow. Then I used the ruler to draw all of the outlines of the border so I knew what I had to fill in. And this part is so satisfying to me, especially when it's sped up like this. And then using the fine tip side of the darker brush pen, which apparently that color is called mist purple, so I don't know, fun fact, but I'm using it to make the outer border. And here you can see me debating whether I should have made the line longer past the first border or just keep it the way that it was. Sometimes I feel like I overthink little things like this, which is kind of dumb, but it definitely happens. In the end, I decided to just leave it at the length that it was. For this line here, I think I lost all spatial awareness, so this is all you get to see for a little bit, the top of my head and a very bad messy bun. And all that was left was erasing any leftover pencil marks, and that's the cover page. It's a pretty simple and easy design to make, and I ended up really liking it. Moving on to my monthly goals page, I actually set it up in pencil off camera. I love having my goals right at the beginning of the month, and I love setting my goals as well. It feels like a fresh new start every month when I do this, and I just feel so motivated to complete them. I wanted this page to kind of match the border that I already had for the cover page, so as you can see, I'm using the exact same colors to make the border here. So yeah, just filling those lines in. Again, this is so satisfying for me to watch when it's sped up. I don't know if maybe that's just me, let me know in the comments down below. And then I lightly erased the goals title so I could still see it and go over it with my Muji pen. Again, I did the fake calligraphy technique thing to make it look a little bit prettier. And now for the fun part, which was actually setting my goals. I always have some of the same monthly goals. So for example, I always want to be reading at least one book, and I want to be writing in my journal, and I want to be exercising consistently, that sort of thing. And then I have more specific goals for the month, and I left some space to fill out some other goals later. Now flipping the page over, you can see there's some ghosting and bleed through on the other side. Like I said during the supply section, the paper in this journal is kind of thin, so to work around this, I use the glue tape to glue the two pages together. I definitely don't do this for every single page. For some pages it really doesn't bother me, but for this one I really didn't want that to be seen. Now it's time for my habit tracker. I feel like most people would actually jump into a monthly layout here, but I actually prefer using digital planning when it comes to seeing my month at a glance. So I skip doing that every month and hop right into my habit tracker. For the title, I decided to do a mix of uppercase block letters and then cursive. I really like mixing them up like that. And then I'm using the Tombow dual brush pens to make these rectangles. They're 7 squares long for each day of the week, one in the lighter color and then the other one with the darker one. So now I'm just writing the habits I want to track. They're the same ones they've been for a while now. So I have reading, journaling, meditating, then exercise, stretching, and skincare. And the bottom row has productive days, waking up by 8 a.m. at the latest. And lastly, playing guitar/ukulele. And then I'm just writing the first letter of each day of the week for each habit. I really like setting it up this way because then I can see what kind of patterns show up, like maybe I tend to read more towards the beginning of the week, or I tend to journal more during weekends, that kind of thing. My habit tracker is honestly one of my favorite things about bullet journaling. I don't know why, but it feels so motivational for me to have this. It feels like a little game, and each time I fill up a square, it's like adding to my score, and the score is good and healthy habits. Ever since I started tracking my habits, I've definitely noticed a difference in how consistent I am with them. On this next page, I like to take my exercise habit tracker a step further and make a whole exercise log. I also had an exercise log for June, if you saw that video, which was basically a little monthly layout. But for this month, I really wanted to change it up and do something that I think is going to work much better for me. So I'm making 2 columns that have space for all 30 days of September, and then putting a line where the week ends. So each box denotes a week basically. And the first column is for the exercise activity. So I'll be writing things like upper body or glutes or abs or the name of the workout class that I did, whatever exercise it is. And then the other column is the amount of time that I exercised for. This helps me plan my workouts and have a good overview of my fitness progress. If you saw my June video, I had a gratitude log and a write it down page for random things I wanted to remember, but now I'm doing something different for gratitude, and honestly I barely use the write it down page, so I'm not doing either one of those for September. Back to the setup, I flipped the page over, and as you can see there's some ghosting and bleed through, so again I'm using the glue tape to glue those 2 pages together to work around this. Onto the weekly layout, I'm finally taking out the washi tape and using it for the title of the week. I'm using a Sharpie fine liner because my Muji pens actually smudged a little bit on top of this tape. And then I'm making 8 columns, 7 of them are for days of the week, and the first one that's in a different color is for my weekly goals. And I'm actually putting August 31st in this September layout. It didn't really work out to include it in my August one, and since it fell on a Monday, it was nice to have the whole week in one place. From then on, I just wrote the other dates of the week, and then at the bottom, I'm making a section for daily to-do list, which is the first thing that I fill out every single morning. And my to-dos are often based off of the weekly goals that I've set for myself. Having both weekly goals and daily to-do lists are really great for giving both my week and my days some sort of direction. And then I make a little timetable going from 8 a.m. to midnight, and I fill it out based on what I wrote in my to-do list or other things I might have planned. And then I just went through and did the same thing for the week after, and then for the week after that one is when my birthday is happening, so I just wrote my birthday instead of the date. And I looked through some of the stickers that I had from old agendas and found this purple one that matched, that said fun. I really wish it just said birthday, but you know, it kind of works, and I have a little something to note a special day. Then I filled out the rest of the weekly layouts. As you can see, I changed up the fonts for some of the weeks. And then September ends on a Wednesday, so that last layout was only half a page. And I'm just noticing this now, but it looks like I didn't actually write the times from 8 till midnight like I did for the first couple of weeks. I don't know why, but now I'll just have to fill it out later. And last but not least is my September recap. I used both of the Tombow dual brush pens to do the uppercase block letter title, and then I went over it in cursive with my Muji pen. I've seen this all over Pinterest and I really like the way that it looks. I knew I wanted to incorporate it for September. Then I'm just making rectangles for each section of the recap, alternating between the dark and light colors. For the sections, I have highlights, then habits, where I just count how many days I actually did the habit for that month. Then I have acting recaps, so I'll write how many auditions I had and what they were for, and if I learned anything new. Then I have YouTube, so I'll write subscribers, watch time, revenue, all of that stuff. And then I have what books I read and gratitude. And for this last box, I actually have no idea what to write, but in terms of the layout, it worked, so comment down below if you have any ideas. And now that that's done, it's time for the final flip through, which is basically the part you've all been waiting for and probably the part that a lot of you skip to, which is totally okay and understandable. I'll often also skip to the flip through section of bullet journal videos to get some quick ideas, but I gotta say, if you did skip to this part, I'm a little hurt that you didn't watch the whole video. Okay, I'm kidding. I understand you. I've been editing this video for quite some time now, and at this point, I'm just going to leave this last voiceover the way it's turning out now. I really like how this layout turned out. I hope you did too. Please like and subscribe. It's super helpful to me. And yeah, I guess that's all I'm gonna say. Thanks for clicking on this video.